So this is the Kamvas 16 Gen 3, and thank you very much to HUION for sending this out for review. Just so we're all aware, they've sent this out free of charge for me to review, but they don't get to see this content and they don't get input into what I actually say here in the video as well. I've been a user of HUION for some time. I've collaborated with them before on this one. This is the Kamvas 13 Pro that I have here, which is also 2.5K, and they can go up in different sizes to 4K as well. I'm just having a look through their website here, just be really aware of which one you are buying, because right now the Kamvas Pro 16 is actually cheaper than this one, the Kamvas 16 Generation 3. And that is because although the Kamvas Pro 16 is a few years older, it doesn't have the Pentec 4.0 like this new Kamvas 16 does. It has the Pentec 3.0. It does go up to 2.5K. So I imagine there'll be a Kamvas 16 Gen 3 Pro coming along soon with a 4K option maybe at this size. And there are 4K options as well, which you might be interested in. The Kamvas 24, the Kamvas Pro 24 is 4K. That one is a full $1,000 for you to buy right now. Sure, it's a great option as well. This that we're looking at today, the Kamvas 16 Gen 3, is $500, I believe. Yeah. Or the 13-inch version, which drops a little bit. Kamvas 13 Gen 3, $224. I mean, that is a really good price, really. Is that the 2.5K version? No, that's down to HD, but still a really good option. Now, I don't do much drawing here at home, I'll be honest, although I do want to do more, and perhaps this is one thing that I might get me actually doing a bit more digital drawing, but I do use my pen display for, is for annotating on top of PowerPoints in presentations. And I'm going to do a webinar really soon where I do intend on actually annotating on top of the presentation. And I was going to use the 13-inch screen, but now I think I will go for the 16-inch screen. I mean, that is a absolute wonder. I have used 16-inch drawing screens before, and they've been a really good size for both portability and for screen real estate as well. It's pretty much a sweet spot actually, and there are loads of options therefore. It's got a slightly new design stand, but looks pretty similar to the one that we had before. Yep, different angles that you can prop that thing up at to give you a comfortable drawing angle wherever you are. Very, very nice indeed. Now, as I say, the difference that I'm seeing so far, yeah, both 2.5K. This one has an all new nano etched glass, so it should be nice for reducing any glare. You can see some nice soft diffusion there as well. And from my angle, looks like I haven't got any glare at all. And also this is using Pentec 3, but the new one is using Pentec 4.0. There's full EMR, you don't have to charge this, and it's 800. Oh no, wow, it's gone up to 16,000 levels of pressure. So that is even more than I've been used to at all, and 5,000 lines per inch as well. So incredibly accurate it should be here. Now I'm hoping this is going to work as simple as this, and I'm going to be able to unplug my Kamvas 13 and plug that in there. And because it's 2.5K resolution as well, the computer should just recognize it, turn it on. You can run that in one of two ways. If you've got a laptop that will allow you to run a display via USB-C, it should just work with one cable. Or with my computer here, I do have to actually run the free core cable, if you like. I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is the free core cable. You can see at one end into the tablet, you've just got one USB-C, but on the other end, you've got one USB-A for power, you've got one USB-A for the control, and one HDMI for the actual screen. So they need to be connected into the computer separately, those three. And they always include a nice extender for power as well, in case you haven't got enough room. But with my laptop, for instance, or with a mini PC, oh wow, there's another extender for power there as well. You should be able to run the whole thing off one USB-C cable. So there's that option as well. Quick start guide and a glove. The glove is just there for comfort really. It's not got a touch interface, so you're not going to get any accidental touches there, but some people prefer, if they're drawing for long periods of time, to wear a drawing glove like this, so the hand just feels like they glide a bit more across the screen and they're not putting so much palm sweat, I guess, down on top of the screen as well. And in honor of Brad, of course, we need to do the glove dance. Or maybe he's stopped doing that joke, I don't know. What else do we get? Get the little pen holder, and inside the pen holder with HUION always is included the nibs. And they also give you just a power brick as well, because you might need one of those. So you certainly get everything you need. Also, I've not seen this before, but this is a certificate of the calibration of the device. I don't know whether this is my specific device, but it shows how it covers all of the full gamut of sRGB there as well. So it should be a nice accurate IPS display. And of course laminated, as you would very much expect right now. I am wondering whether the HUION driver that I have already installed here is just going to work straight out of the box. It says device disconnected. So maybe I do need to install a new driver as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll have a draw and I will let you know. Well, I think I've done not such a great job because, well, I'm totally out of practice with using Adobe Fresco rather than the actual Kamvas 16 itself. It is a really nice surface to draw on. The pressure levels are pretty darn impressive actually. You can really touch it and make a stroke and press hard. So hard you feel like you might actually break the screen, but you won't. I'd like having the controls here. The press button can change between scroll up, scroll down, zoom in, zoom out. And so you can have them set to two different things there. I've set it up as being undo and redo, which I really like. And yeah, generally I'm getting along really quite well with it. We will see once I've lived with it for a little while. Oh, and one more thing. I noticed initially that I was having an issue with it sort of skipping strokes, and that was because I had Windows Ink settings on in the driver. So you do need to install a new driver for this when you get it, and it's working just perfectly with my PC. But initially I had that issue, so make sure you do turn that setting off. You don't want Windows Ink. It's just Windows is trying to sort of take control of the pen input rather than just letting the HUION driver do it. So you want the HUION driver to look after that. Cool. I will be using that for some time and I will let you know what I think of it. But so far, really positive things. So I've been using the HUION Kamvas 16 Gen 3 for about 2 weeks now, and I have really enjoyed it. I've had a couple of issues with the driver on the main PC, so I'm going to actually try it with my much newer laptop PC here and see if it's maybe some older hardware having issues with the interface there. Fingers crossed that works just fine. It is okay. I mean, it's just that I've had to uninstall and then reinstall the drivers, which is going to be a bit of a pain if you had to do that kind of every time. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to come up with a fix at some point. But I thought I would just bring you that news. But I used it here on my main desk. I used it here for my webinar, and I was actually teaching some physics to this camera and sharing that screen. So I had the PowerPoint and I was able to annotate on top of the PowerPoint with the Windows Ink. And that's one thing, an interesting thing about that driver is you should enable Windows Ink settings when you're trying to use pen input on Word or on PowerPoint. But when you want to use it for drawing, then you need to disable Windows Ink. So that's a bit odd, but hey, that works great in both modes as long as you're aware of how to do that. I'm also very keen to try it in its one cable mode, which should just work with one USB-C cable from my laptop. And I'll need to set up the drivers on this PC as well, but I'll just bring you in here because you can hopefully see how nice the anti-glare coating is on that screen there. I'm currently constantly fighting, or I'm standing at least, constantly fighting the reflection of the window behind me in my glossy screen on the laptop. Yeah, that's how that looks. But even when I'm looking at a light source on the HUION, then I'm really not seeing any glare at all there. It looks really good. I try and catch the window behind me. There we are, that's the reflection of the window there. And you can still see everything really clearly. So it's a really nicely treated screen, really impressed by that. And honestly, given that a portable monitor, they can fetch about 100 quid anyway, why not buy one of these, either the Kamvas 13 Gen 3 or the Kamvas 16 Gen 3, and for just a little bit more. I mean, so the Kamvas 13 Gen 3, £224, and you get the pen input You get the touch, the jog wheels as well, and yeah, you get this excellent pen tech. It is really good. All of those levels of pressure in the drawing app, and it is really good. Actually, the accuracy in Windows Ink, but you make sure you turn on and off the Windows Ink when you want to use it, because you will find that if it's on when you're drawing, you'll be shocked at how bad the pen input is, and if it's off when you're in PowerPoint, you'll be shocked at how bad the pen input is as well. So, word of warning, gonna get things installed, and actually I've kind of hit upon a workflow that I like, and my first drawings were not very good, but it wasn't the fault of the canvas, it was the fault of me using Adobe Fresco, which is actually an app that I'm not too familiar with. Because see, actually what I've done is I've taken the drawing that I made in London of Sir Kit Wren's St. Paul's Cathedral, and I've just put some watercolor underpainting and then some sort of oil strokes as well to sort of bring out the foreground. And I think it's ended up with really quite a nice effect that I'm really quite pleased with, so I'm going to try and emulate that just now. So I'll get drivers installed and I'll be back. Okay, I think we're up and running. And firstly, well, the driver lets you just do a pressure test, so I'll try that. I find that you can get really, really light pressures through to really heavy pressures. I mean, you can see on the side there, I'm getting pressures down in the hundreds of levels through to pressing really hard to get the 16,000 levels of pressure, which is, I mean, it's a bit stupendous really. And you can do all the pen sensitivity adjustment there, but I'm not finding any issue. One thing I am finding an issue though is it defaults automatically to the main actual desktop, the main screen, as the working area, which is totally weird, and there's no way I can see to permanently make itself the main working area. I just don't get why that would be the case, but anyway, that's the situation. But not such a big deal to change it every now and then, but it would be a big deal if I have to install the driver every single time I boot up the machine. And you might want to use the working area being something different, because you can use this just essentially as a tablet and be looking at your main monitor. Perhaps you've got a really color accurate monitor, more so than this one, although I'm absolutely certain that there's nothing wrong with the color accuracy here either. Here's the drawing that I've done on the e-ink tablet, and I will do, I think, a little video talking about how I actually make these drawings and talking more about the technique of drawing with various different tools, but really the main, how do you actually produce image which has got nice depth in black and white. I'm going to actually use this and add color within the Fresco software. And on my second channel, I'll talk more about the technique of drawing if you're interested in that. That's just called Kit Masters, and there'll be a link to that in my description as well. Export that, just have a little play about that as well. One thing I did think about is I'm not sure why they don't have a system where you can more easily rotate this into vertical mode, because certainly with what I'm doing just now, I would prefer this image to be in vertical mode. But instead, I'm going to have to zoom in and zoom out. That shouldn't be too much of an issue, because these two scroll wheels here allow you to switch between scroll up and down, zoom in, zoom out, and brush size. And you can have either, the top one could be brush size and the bottom one could be zoom in and zoom out, which is how I'm going to leave it there. So I can map these buttons to what I want them to be. So there we are, move tool. Space is the second one. Save, new layer. Cool, okay. And now I'm gonna paint. So this is the fun bit. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I feel like I've given this a good first test. I can tell you that I think having the extra pressure levels is really, really good. I think that using Adobe Fresco is really, really good. I like this workflow. I'm gonna get better at actually sketching directly on the thing, I think. So any advice, any tips on that you think I should try, then please just put that in the comments. I've actually got something else I'm thinking about this type of workflow. Might fit in a little bit better with the HUION, and it might be a bit more of a streamlined workflow than the Manta, which is not cheap. One thing it will be is a lot less expensive than the Manta. HUION have also sent me this, which is their HUION Note, which is a real paper notepad with a pen, but it's got essentially a drawing tablet built in the back. Now, I've used something like this before, but I'm intrigued to know how far that technology has come, because it's not been something I've used for the last 10 years, in fact. And well, yeah, I think that it could be a really good companion for note-taking as well as for drawing, and for just making that bit of line art to be able to drop in color behind that on the beautiful HUION Kamvas 16. I'm really impressed with this thing, and it's got a definite place on my desk, and it's going to be useful for me as a professional and for me as an artist. So if you want a bit more about how I actually make drawings, you can see lots of things. The moment you stop, the moment you abandon your artwork, you think, gosh, there's so many more things I can do with that. But yeah, for now, that's the HUION Kamvas 16.